welcome to week 3 of our book club study, Living the Artist's Way, an intuitive path to greater creativity. We are already on week 3. This is week 3 already. I can't believe it. And the chapter is called Inviting Calm. So let's dig into this. And if you haven't seen the first few videos and the introduction of how this book club is working, we're all reading this together. We're doing our morning pages, and then we're coming to my free school community, Create, Heal, Shine, and we're having a discussion. So the links are all below if you're watching this on YouTube or wherever you're seeing this. And feel free to request to join so you can join in and then access all of the other beautiful challenges and workshops and masterclasses and beautiful things and resources that are available for you in there, as well as a beautiful community of other people that are on similar journeys. So let's get into week 3. So the first part of week 3, she says, this week will help you to experience the calm of guidance. Guidance brings a sense of serenity and an assurance that we are on the right path. Using the tools of this week, you'll be asked to invite the calm of guidance. And in that calm, examine further self-care in the form of both making connections and setting limits. As the sages say, slow equals no. As you dispense with hurried and harried decision-making, you will find that the pause you experience will forge a deeper connection to the universe. So this is what it is, all about inviting calm. And the first section is called Guided to Patience. So Julia Cameron, the author, she likes to write a lot about stories and friends and things that she's learned along the way and people that are in her world. And so she goes and talks about a whole bunch of friends and how following through the other chapters, she's been going through some different things with heat exhaustion and it's very hot where she is in New Mexico. And she's just talking about patience. And after each kind of section of the chapter, she gives a little blurb that we're following along and all doing together. And this one's called The Inviting Calm, Right for Guidance. So your first task is to choose an area in your life where you are struggling to have patience. Write out the following questions and listen for guidance. Number 1, what do I need to know? Number 2, what do I need to do? Number 3, what do I actually need to grieve? And number 4, what do I need to accept? And last but not least, number 5, what do I need to celebrate? So really dig into those prompts and do your writing for this section, because those are some really beautiful areas in our life where we can draw out where we are struggling to have patience. And everybody has a certain length of rope, I feel like, and we're all sometimes that. Think of that little cartoon when I was a kid with the little cannonball and dynamite thing that they light and it's sizzling and it's like a mile away. And sometimes when we're burning out and we're doing too much and we're lacking patience, that sizzling thing is burning slower. The whole big string and the ball is getting closer and closer. And so it's really important to look at when we're feeling like we're having a lack of patience or losing patience, that these are some really great questions to ask for guidance. And so in the first few videos, we talked about all the different ways that we are following along with the book. The first being 3 pages of longhand writing in the morning. Those are our morning pages. The second task throughout the book is a weekly solo date or artist date, if you will. You don't have to be an artist, so I usually call it solo because it's just about going and doing something special for you once a week for an hour or 2, totally unplugged. Your favorite coffee shop, a walk in the forest, going to a museum, going to a garden, going and reading something under a tree, whatever it is for you, just setting aside time to think. Actually, maybe we're not supposed to read. I'm not even sure about that one. But being unplugged and really reconnecting that power cord. So those are some beautiful things for that little section. And then her next section is called Accepting the Good. In this section, she talks about how her a lady named Juanita comes to her house every Monday to clean. And she says for 3 hours, she scrubs and vacuums and dusts. She's a whirlwind of energy. She leaves my house spotless and sparkling. Her mood is always happy and sweet, and her presence in the house brings order and joy. She's a hard worker, and she's always so happy. I'm kind of condensing this. And because this topic is all about accepting the good, I love where the story goes. So she says, I pray all the time, Juanita answered me. I pray in the morning, at night, before bed, and all through the day. That's why I'm so happy when I'm driving job to job. I pray. I don't pray formal prayers, but I pray as I talk, like casual conversations with God, she says. And she says, I have a connection, she told me, pausing in her work to focus on the question. She didn't even find it intrusive. Rather, she's delighted that she could share her source of cheer and guidance of regular daily prayer. Now you can see prayer as anything, asking for guidance, focusing on the universe, focusing on God, going deep within, whatever it is for you. You can see this however it suits your life and your beliefs. And it says, I thought to myself, Juanita's children are like their mother, beacons of good cheer. Her 2 teenage boys are happy-go-lucky and well-mannered. They are, again, like their mother, hardworking and enjoyable. I'm glad you asked me your question, Juanita said. You pray, don't you? And Julia answered, I do. Juanita prayed for guidance to do the right next thing. She cleaned my house, moving swiftly and easily from task to task, prayer to prayer. She says, you need trash bags, laundry detergent, dish detergent, and coffee filters, she declared. I'll bring them to you next week. Grateful for her help, I found myself praying a prayer of gratitude. Thank you, God, for bringing me Juanita. She left that day with a sweet goodbye. Until next Monday, Julia. Until next Monday, Juanita. Thank you. I just love this little mini story because she focuses on how just focusing on asking for guidance for something as simple, we would think, to what to clean next seems so basic and ordinary, but it's those moments of gratitude and seeking that connection and guidance that's so beautiful, and that Juanita does this for everything in her life, not just cleaning and asking where to go next and what to do next, but in all areas. And so our second task for this chapter is filling in the following. Writing for guidance. Your questions and tasks for today are: an area in my life where I accept the good is, fill in the blank. I could accept more good in my life by doing blank. And the third one is, my guidance led me to good when. So really ponder those and write those things in your journal and allow yourself to go deep and uncensored and just go with the flow and see what comes up, because there's such beauty and simplicity. I know that for me, just having no rhyme or reason and just letting go and being honest and truthful, so much beauty can flow. And so I love those questions. Next, she talks about the calmness of guidance and where to go and how to tap into that when we're stressed out or anxious. And this next little section talks about a storm is coming and there's a hurricane watch in South Florida. And her and her friends are talking about this, and the puppy's sitting there. And it's just a beautifully written little section on just those moments of feeling anxious and looking for support and encouragement and guidance. And sometimes that's where the best things that she talks about is utilizing pen and paper and going to your journal when you're stressed and speaking and listening. She says, guidance just feels reassuring. While she wrote, the storm clouds pass, the moon has risen over the mountains, and a clear evening prevails. Lily creeps from her hiding place and sits on the deck. All is calm. And so asking for guidance can be calming. She says, as we habitually write for guidance, our decisions are made with more ease and we move through the world with more calm. So this is our third task to write on. Number 1, my guidance has calmed me when, fill in the blank. A decision I made based on guidance was, and number 3, I saw my guidance as a source of steadiness in my life when. Now choose a person who is deceased, whose guidance you find calming. Can you reach out to them on the page? Can you write to them? Write to them and wait for a response. And there's a beautiful little quote in here that says, support and encouragement are found in the most unlikely places. Raquel Sapita. So I love that. It's so beautiful. And so the next little section is called the supportive connection. And of course, that's going to be related to people, humans, all of this deep connection we have between all of us. I think my favorite part of this entire section is one quote on the sidebar that says, the best mirror is an old friend. George Herbert. Isn't that so true? You connect with someone real, and they become a mirror. They're a reflection of you. And I think that's so beautiful. So in this section, she talks about things breaking down. We talked about in another video how she was getting air conditioning because of the heat wave. Things were all breaking down, but she counted on people to support her and help her through things. She talks about somebody coming and giving her a bag of tomatoes. Things are breaking. She's going through all these different scenarios and coming to the point of reconnecting to human beings, and what we need to do is connect for deeper support, not try and do everything ourselves, not trying to be everything and do everything in isolation and thinking that we have all the answers, that we can actually reach out to other people and get the support. And I think it's the thought of this, so this next task is, we have practiced the art of finding support through our guidance. Now is timely to connect with those around us. Is there an area in which you need some human support in your life? Is there a friend you can reach out to just to connect to? Ask your guidance who you could connect to. Can you make a plan to connect? So for me, how I see this is, in the moment, I have my intuition will hit that I need to text somebody, or I need to phone somebody, or I need to send an email to somebody, and not a to-do, but a want, a desire, and a desire to connect to that person. They're on my heart for a reason. If that person is on my heart, I want to reach out to them. There's a purpose for this. Maybe they need support in that moment. Maybe they need to hear from you. Maybe they need your motivation or inspiration, or maybe they can help you through something and you don't even realize it yet until you call them. So I think trusting your instincts and allowing yourself to really tap into your intuition when someone comes to your mind, and actually follow through. Because how many times do we go through life when someone is on our mind and we just don't take that step and reach out to them, and we think, oh, I should call them, or I should send them a message, and we just ignore it, and it keeps coming back, and months later it's someone else or something. I think it's really important to tap into those thoughts in the moment. Dropping what you're doing and really sending someone a 2-second message can just change everything. How many times have you've connected with somebody and all of a sudden they're like, oh my gosh, I was thinking of you at the exact same time. So those things are powerful. I love those moments. It's like synchronicity. This chapter is quite a bit shorter than the others. So this is our last section, and it's about inviting boundaries. And she just talks about realizing where she needs to make boundaries and where all the puzzle pieces are coming together. There's a beautiful quote in this one that says, in the universe, there are things that are known and things that are unknown. And in between them, there are doors. William Blake. So what door are you going to choose? Which way and which direction are you going to go? And the last and final task of this week's challenge, if you will, discussion, journaling, whatever you want to call it, is, I have long believed in the power of writing silly poems to help right my energies. So fill in the following. A person who has been bothering me is, I wish I could. And third, My guidance suggests I, and fill in the blank. Those are some really beautiful prompts, actually. And in this last little section, she writes a 2-line poem, a whole bunch of 2-line little poems. And she says the power of writing these silly poems help make her energy right, gets her back on track. And so that's so intertwined with boundaries, because in these questions, we sometimes need to focus on what's actually going on behind the scenes, like what's actually directing the show right now. And so I love that. And the last thing is, now write a silly poem at this person or situation that is bothering you. Does it shift your mood? Does it draw your energy back to yourself? What does it do? And the last thing I want to share is the sidebar says, we can think of anger as a sentry, stalking the edges of our boundaries and standing ready to defend them. Jessica Moore. So this is all about inviting calm through boundaries, through connection and human support, through guidance and writing. And I think it's really important to focus on accepting things sometimes for what they are. It doesn't mean we have to agree with them or believe that in them, but we just accept them for who we are, so we can kind of move forward and out of the situation. And that is how we invite calm into our life, by noticing things, being self-aware. Number 2, accepting the situation, and then going to the paper and journaling on how we can get guidance and support through it to feel more calm and more peace and more centered and aligned. So I hope you enjoyed week 3. This is definitely a shorter chapter, so it'll be an easy read. And I will meet you back here next Monday for week, oh my gosh, is it 4 already? Yeah, it's going to be week 4. Let's see what it's called. Week 4, inviting optimism, talking about forgiveness, hope, surrendering control, and guidance. So I hope you're enjoying this and doing this in whatever phase feels good to you. How are you doing on your morning pages? Are you writing them? Share in the discussion about where you're going on your dates. Oh, I totally skipped. I started talking about something else. But the third thing was, the first was the morning pages. The second was the solo date. The third is 2 times a week we're doing nature walks. Don't know how I lost that in translation. Unplugged, by yourself, no animals, no earphones, no nothing. Just unplugged, focusing on you, nature, groundedness. And the 4th thing is these tasks, which I've been reading out in every video to do, to write for guidance through all of this. Because the first initial set of 3 pages of morning pages is strictly just basically brain dumping everything in your head when you get up in the morning, anything that comes out. So you don't have to do this thing perfectly. You just do you, and do it what feels good to you. And anything you write down always is so powerful. It doesn't have to be some perfect thing. So just keep going, share with us in the group, tell me all of this, comment below, and I'd love to hear about your journey. Until next time, I'll talk to you later. Bye, friends.